Rev up your engines! Today's question comes from Benny Smith, who says, Scotty, are the Mercedes that they make and sell in Germany and Europe better than the ones that they sell in the United States? Yes, I believe they are. And to understand why, look at a little history. When I was a young mechanic in the 60s, Mercedes-Benzes were built like tanks. Really solid, reliable vehicles. But they were all made in Germany. But today, at least as of 2017, 55.6% of the Mercedes made are made outside of Germany. I've often made videos saying, hey, don't buy one of these luxury Mercedes in the United States. They're endless money pits. They have horrible resale value. And people from Europe say, well, Scotty, we've had these Mercedes in our family for decades, and they still run great. Why are you saying this? No, I respond to them that I'm in the United States. I'm talking about the Mercedes that are sold in the United States, not the ones that are sold in Europe. And when they told me what was sold in Europe, it's a completely different ballgame. Because in Europe, they use Mercedes for taxis. When I was in England, I saw Mercedes-Benz ice cream trucks people were driving around in. It's a different ballgame. In the United States, Mercedes was originally interested in the luxury car market. So they sold high-end luxury cars. That's where they wanted to make money in the United States. Things are starting to change for Mercedes, especially in the United States. They're pushing their trucks now. For a while, they were selling these Sprinter vans that are pretty good vans. And strangely enough, these Mercedes vans, up until a year and a half ago, they were made in Germany, fully tested. Then they took the engines and transmissions out in Germany, then brought them to a truck factory that they had bought in South Carolina, and put them back together again, and sold them in America. Now you might well ask, what on earth were they building them entirely in Germany, then taking the engines and transmission apart, shipping them to South Carolina and putting them back together? Well, it was to avoid this 25% tax that they had on commercial vehicles. It's the only reason that they did that. Otherwise, it's patently absurd. But in September 2018, Mercedes opened up a new $500 million plant in South Carolina, where they're building the Sprinter vans. As far as I can tell, and they try to hide everything, the engine and transmission stuff is still coming from Germany, but they assemble the whole things in South Carolina. Heck, you probably see them in your neighborhood now, because Amazon ordered 20,000 of these Sprinter cargo vans for bringing packages to people all over the country. So Mercedes, which always sold trucks all around the world, is now pushing vans and trucks in the United States too. They kind of changed their focus. They used to just want luxury, so they didn't sell all the taxi cars and everything they sold in Europe and the United States. They only sold the expensive ones. Now, they're getting in the truck market seriously. But when it comes to Mercedes cars sold in the United States, they're still pushing luxury. And as far as I'm concerned, the luxury cars that they build in Germany are better than the ones they build in the United States. Take this Lexus as a comparison. Lexuses, aside from one SUV, are all made in Japan. The SUV is made in Cambridge, Ontario, and the Canadians do a pretty good job. But all the rest of the Lexuses are still made in Japan. And I found the same thing. Toyotas and Lexuses that are made in Japan are of a higher quality than the ones made in other places. Just the way that it goes. Today, Mercedes sells mostly commercial vehicles in the United States. Of the 2.3 million cars Mercedes sold worldwide in 2017, only 350,000 were sold in the United States. They're pushing more towards commercial vehicles in the United States now. And of the cars sold in the United States, a lot of them are the C-Class, the lower price, well, at least lower price for Mercedes ones, that are being built in Alabama, not in Germany. And when Mercedes started manufacturing SUVs in the United States in the late 1990s, the quality went rapidly downhill. You find any expert, they'll tell you the same thing. The quality will just, and the customers of mine that owned those, oh man, I had them where the one guy had the seat go on fire. He had one of his electric seats that burned his leather coat and part of his butt. They had super expensive power steering leaks. You might think, oh, it's just a power steering leak. Well, on those racks, if you got to change one out, it could cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on a Mercedes because of their crazy German design where you got to take just about everything apart to change it. And it's not like they're giving these things away. They're still relatively expensive. And the latest research that I've done on what other people think, was that they just rated Mercedes in the middle for reliability. No longer the high stuff that they made when I was young, and they're charging a ton of money that isn't the greatest like it used to be. My advice is, if you want to buy a Mercedes-Benz, buy one that was made 100% in Germany. Not one that has, well, the engine came from Germany or the transmission came from Germany or Hungary. They got factories all over the place. You want to buy one that was fully built in Germany. I just see that they have higher quality, they have less breakdown, and yes, you're going to pay more for them. There's no arguing that. But if you're going to pay that kind of money, at least you're getting the real thing. I mean, when I go out to eat, and I want to go to an authentic Chinese restaurant, I want to have authentic Chinese people making the food in the back. When I go to a real pizza joint, I want to have that pizza either made by an Italian or an Italian-American from New York City like I do here in Houston. And if I was going to buy a Mercedes, but hey, I'm way too cheap for that. I wouldn't spend that kind of money on a car. I would want one that's built in Deutschland by Germans. And since this is the Thursday segment where I answer a viewer's question, place your own question on the YouTube comments below, and I'll pick the best ones to make a single video to answer your questions. And where else can you find a guy with 50 years experience of fixing cars to answer your own question with a video? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.